Hello, my name is Tony. The biggest potential flaw with The Day of the Jackal the movie, one it shares with Frederick Forsyth's best-selling novel of the same name, is we all know what happens in the end. French President Charles de Gaulle did not die by stopping the bullet of an international assassin with his brain pan, but of a heart attack aged 79 in 1970. Maybe if someone like Tarantino, with his proclivity for bending factual history to his fictional will, had made the film in the last 20 years or so, the outcome would have been different. But veteran Hollywood director Fred High Noon Zinnemann was a less frivolous sort of craftsman. He was going to tell a fictional story in a historical framework that wasn't going to fuck with history to that extent. What he knew he had to do was refocus the attention of the audience from the end they knew about to the journey to that end, and make that journey compelling, gripping, and captivating enough so that there's a tiny seed of uncertainty if it will end like it's supposed to, like it did in real life, and just how the assassination will be foiled. And of course, what will happen to the would-be assassin if or when he fails. So that is what The Day of the Jackal does in effect. A political thriller about a man with a plan to kill another man, and the depiction of how that plan comes together and how it all plays out. Detailed and intricately plotted stuff. This is a summary of what transpires. In 1962, French President Charles de Gaulle had granted independence to Algeria. A militant underground paramilitary organization known as OAS didn't take this too well and decided to launch an assassination attempt on the press, which was utterly botched and resulted in the execution of the OAS leader and the imprisonment of most of its members. The remaining members of OAS bunkered down in exile in Austria, led by Rodin Eric Porter. They engaged the services of an anonymous English assassin known only as the Jackal, Edward Fox, for $500,000 to bump off de Gaulle. De Gaulle of it. So begins the journey of the Jackal as he sets out about putting his plan into operation, ruthlessly eliminating anyone who stands in his way or poses a threat to his objective, engaged in a cat-and-mouse evasion with the authorities on his tail, led by Deputy Police Commissioner Claude Labelle, Michael Lonsdale, and his Lieutenant Caron, Derek Jacobi. The Day of the Jackal is a masterclass in concise filmmaking. It takes the wordy and descriptive basis of Forsyth's novel, the detailing of an international manhunt, and the intricacies of executing a hit on a major political figure, and presents them in a stark, lean documentary style that engages and thrills in equal measure. One critic observed that it has the mechanics and movements of a fine Swiss watch, and that's as fair an appraisal as any. Wish I'd thought of putting it like that, but even though it pains me to say, it was in fact Roger Ebert on one of his rare good days when he recognised a good film and afforded it due credit. Central, though, is the character of the Jackal. To emphasise his anonymity, Zinnemann cast relative unknown Edward Fox in what was to be his career-defining role. Fox is pinpoint perfect as the faintly louche and foppish Englishman whose unthreatening facade conceals a sociopathic heart of ice and a capacity for lethal action. As he hops around Europe sourcing a custom-tooled sniper rifle from a gunsmith, Cyril Cusack, and fake identity documents from a forger, Ronald Pickup, it's a persuasive and tense travelogue with many a twist and turn along the way. The attention to detail is forensic. As the narrative progresses, the Jackal's nature is revealed further. The forger tries to blackmail him for more money. The Jackal kills him with a crippling punch to the gut and a chop to the trachea. In a hotel pit stop, he seduces and sleeps with an aristocratic woman, Colette de Montpellier, Delphine Seyrig. Later, after a near-fatal car crash, he invites himself to her country estate to lay low. When she reveals that the police had questioned her the day before his arrival, he strangles her in bed. Changing appearance and identity, he travels to Paris by train. Once there, he picks up a gay man, Jules Anton Rogers, at a Turkish bathhouse and holds up in his apartment. When Jules sees a picture of the Jackal on a TV news broadcast, wanted for the murder of Madame Montpellier, the Jackal murders him. Fox is astonishingly good as a single-minded and stone-cold assassin who, even when he could abandon his mission and get away clean, elects to persist. It becomes a personal challenge, evading a massive manhunt and taking out his target. He is driven by an unwavering confidence in his abilities and commitment to his own steely work ethic. The only single indication of some human quality to his persona is when he paints a smiley face on a watermelon he uses to test his gun. A sardonic flicker of a sense of humour, though black as pitch. A combination of Zinnemann's tight and controlled direction, Kenneth Ross's sharply observed screenplay, and Fox's wonderfully meticulous performance pulls off the old Hitchcock trick of placing the viewer in the perspective of the wrongdoer. Against all instincts, the audience can't help but be partially on side, rooting for him to succeed. What adds to this is the depiction of the authorities who are painstaking in their investigation, relentless, dogged, but staid and largely colourless bureaucratic plodders, always one step behind their more dynamic antagonist as they plough through red tape and political sludge. They're nowhere near as much fun to be with. There's an impressive roster of established and familiar character actors in support: Alan Badell, Tony Britton, Donald Sinden, Timothy West, Olga Georges-Picot. The cinematography by Jean Tournier, who lends Frankenheimer's The Train and would later film the Bond movie Moonraker, is a fine neo-realistic, sharply focused amalgam of documentary and widescreen styles, capturing every pertinent visual detail with rock-solid attentiveness. After the first 5 minutes of screen time, there is no dedicated music soundtrack, just diegetic background from military bands, street musicians and radios. Zinnemann felt a traditional score would distract and undermine the sense of movement and tension he was determined to generate throughout. In this instance, it works to enhance an atmosphere of credibility for the action. If you've never seen it and you don't want the ending spoiled, skip forward by a minute or so or switch me off. Spoiler time! The climax, the payoff, is masterfully implemented even though we more or less know what's going to transpire, if not how. At the extravagant Liberation Day parade, de Gaulle is bestowing medals on veterans. The Jackal has infiltrated the area disguised as a one-legged old grunt and is set up in an elevated apartment. He lines up his shot on de Gaulle's head. Meanwhile, Lebel discovers that a young policeman allowed a disabled veteran through the cordon, the sentimental dick. They race to the apartment. The Jackal fires. Fate, though, is a bastard. So a deus ex machina moments I often find. A veteran de Gaulle is about to pin a medal on is a real short ass. I mean, 1 inch taller and he'd be a dwarf. So de Gaulle has to lean forward and down to effectively reach the midget. In that instant, the Jackal shot misses. He reloads just as Lebel and the dozy constable burst in. The Jackal shoots and kills the constable, tries to reload again, but Lebel grabs the dead constable's machine gun and stitches his ass to the wall. The film ends with the Jackal being buried in an unmarked grave, remaining as anonymous in death as he was in life. Lebel is the only witness to the burial. The Day of the Jackal is a premier example of early 70s high-concept thriller filmmaking. I don't expect everyone to experience it the same, but from my end I found it involving, gripping, fascinating and engrossing. It drew me in and kept me there for the duration, and even though it's about 160 minutes long, it doesn't feel it. It works as a high-end pulp thriller, as well as a textbook primer on how to take a novel and film it without skimping on the detail and excluding the essentials. It's been criticised for not having a main hero or central character with whom the audience can identify, but that wasn't the main concern or creative agenda of the type of entertainment Zinnemann was making. The main event was telling the story, spinning a yarn, communicating it as authentically in mood and style as possible. Even if the Jackal stands outside the concept of a hero or anti-hero, Edward Fox invests in with hints of devilish schoolboyish charisma that are in some strange ways engaging and attractive. There was a remake or reimagining later with Bruce Willis and Richard Gere, a Hollywood pap and crap makeover that should have been more informatively titled The Jackass. No one really need bother with it. I'm sounding cliched, I know, but if you want to see how it should be done and how it was done, then the original is where it's at. Thank you, I'm truly grateful for your time and attention. Do whatever you want to do next. Hit like, don't like, comment, subscribe, be a patron of my Patreon thing, make a financial contribution via the thanks button. I shall return with something else in due course. Feet up till we meet again, pilgrims.
By the breaking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes, leaving me a trail of crumbs, broken clocks and plastic guns, making me a prisoner of the past now. Blind with burning wood and trees, on fires for my vanity, torching all the effigies of long-gone personality. Surely must be getting to the last now. Nostalgia picks a fight and beats a pump right through me. It's nothing like it used to be. Everything I ever knew and everything that knew me. It's nothing like it used to be. Christmas Day and Halloween, telling them apart I mean, not so easy as it seems, harder than it's ever been, giving me a taster of regret now. She's in love with her own way, I can't keep the wolves at bay, no matter what I do or say, every day's a doghouse day, maybe I'm just not her kind of pet now. Nostalgia picks a fight and beats a path right through me. It's nothing like it used to be. Everything I ever knew and everything that knew me is nothing like it used to be. Holy shit, how's it come to this? She just fits vinegar and piss. Nostalgia picks a fight and beats a path right through me. It's nothing like it used to be. Everything I ever knew and everything that knew me is nothing like it used to be. Maybe true, I'm gonna get all that's coming to me. It's nothing like it used to be.